Good morning. Welcome to Old Man Energy. It's been a while since I used that intro. Thank you guys for joining me. And if you are already following me on social media, you've been watching some of the craziness that's going on in my life and some of the changes that we're making in pursuit of our dreams and goals. And you can see we're not quite set up here yet. It's not all spick and span and polished, kind of like the last episode, although it is vastly different. Lots happened since then. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, maybe month, I don't know. And that's one thing I want to get on here and talk about today is that, as you can tell by the title of the podcast, grief is interesting. It messes with us in certain ways. It creates dichotomies in our head that we don't know how to deal with, and we're really not equipped to deal with it. And especially Gen Xers, we were always just told, well, just suck it up, walk it off, all the different cliches, but we were never really taught how to deal with grief. And then as guys, our way of teaching with grief is just to walk it off. Just suck it up, deal with it, be a man, all those different things that we've heard over the years. There may be a female equivalent to that, I'm not sure. Also, grief comes in different ways. Grief, when we think of grief, we think of the loss of a loved one, the loss of an animal, but grief also comes in the loss of a job, the change of a lifestyle. Grief comes in many different ways, and we have to emotionally deal with it, or it's going to force us to. And we're just not equipped for that, and we're not prepared for it. And honestly, we don't spend enough time talking about it. And that's one thing that I noticed after losing our pup is, one, losing an animal. If you're not an animal lover, you don't understand. It's like losing a member of the family, especially dogs, longer-lived dogs, 10, 15 years. We'd had her 13, almost 14 years. And she was a part of the family. So there is some grieving associated with that. You know what? It's okay to cry about it. It's okay to feel sad about it. It's okay to have those memories. It's okay to feel that loss. Should you let it control you? No, but you should feel it while you're in the middle of it. And there's a lot of platitudes out there that we've designed to try and wrap this up into a nice little bow and make ourselves feel better. And honestly, all it serves to do is distance us from the person feeling that grief, because we don't know and are not prepared to process that raw emotion. Again, avoidance is what we're taught, not, okay, let's be part of this. Let's say if we're in their circle for a minute, maybe we can give them some comfort. That's not what we're taught. So we're taught push them as far away as possible, or if we're not taught about it, then it makes us so uncomfortable that we push that away. So I originally wanted to talk about grief and challenge and struggle, but I think I'm just going to talk about grief and help folks deal with this. And first of all, in talking with you guys out there, especially you young guys out there, it's okay to shed tears over a loss. If it's a loss of a relationship, other people do not have to understand it. First of all, if it's a loss of a relationship, if it's a loss of a loved one, it's a loss of an animal, a loss of something that was important to you, you know what? If it's emotional, feel it. Go ahead and shed those tears and let it go. You stub your toe, once you get to a certain point, don't cry about that. You bump your hand, you bump your head. I don't know. Don't cry about that. As a guy, I don't think you should. I think I don't know. I don't think it serves any purpose. But when you have that true emotional grief, when your guts and your emotions are just being ripped out of your soul, it's okay to shed some tears. Ladies, I know usually women are more emotionally driven, so they don't really have a problem shedding tears over things that are important to them or loss that's important to them. Sometimes they do, and there's permission there to shed tears as well. But again, nobody has to understand your grief, and nobody really will. But what about those people that are on the other side of the grief, and not the family members that are going through it with us, but the other things, the interactions we have on a daily basis? Because you can generally tell when somebody's in hell. It just comes across, or they're going to tell you, or it's so raw and fresh that they can't help it. And what do we say? Oh, it'll be okay. Oh, they're in a better place now. Oh, I'm sure there was a reason. All of these things are just empty. And the one that I dislike the most is I'll pray for you. And this is not an attack on religion at all. There are very few people that say they're going to pray for you that actually pray for you. And that's unfortunate. Now, the ones that do, they have a genuine care and kindness in their heart. And you can tell the ones that actually do that because that word and that phrase holds some meaning for them. Now, whether you believe or not doesn't matter. The fact that they're going to alter their actions on behalf of you is usually enough. But most of the time, again, it's just an empty platitude. How are you doing this morning? Well, nobody really wants to know how you're doing this morning. It's just a way of greeting each other. So, that being said, what can we say to show that we're not these heartless automatons? Because most people, when you're hurting, they can feel part of it, and they don't want you to be hurting. And I really believe that that's just part of humanity. And the reason that we have these platitudes is we don't know what to say. So we say the first thing that comes to mind. Next time you're confronted with something like this, try a different approach. And some of the things that I say, one of my main, not my main go-to, one of the things that I lead with, that I talk about first whenever somebody's having a hard time, or especially if someone's lost either a loved one or a family member or a pet, is that my heart is broken for you. Because it's an absolutely true statement. And I can feel and imagine that I feel part of their pain and of their loss, and it just breaks my heart. And so that's one statement that, if you mean it, comes across as very genuine. Another statement I heard the other day was very good. This was in result to a cancer diagnosis, and it got shared with a random person. I don't know, at a restaurant counter or fast food or something. And all the guy said, big, tough looking blue collar dude, all he said was tough times ahead. That was it. And it was strangely comforting because he didn't try and blow it off. Oh, it'll be okay. He didn't lie about it. Just acknowledgement. You're going to be going through some stuff and it's going to suck, without going over the top. So that's another one that you can say. Another thing you can tell people, especially if they're having trouble or they're kind of holding it back, is they're worth every tear. And if you don't know what their loss was, you can say, I'm sure they're worth every tear. That's a true statement, whether you have any background information or not. You're not the one shedding the tears. The person feeling the grief is the one shedding the tears. And it kind of gives them permission to just open up. Another thing that is so powerful that we just don't do it enough is give somebody a hug. Now, get permission, make sure you're not hugging somebody who doesn't want to be hugged. But sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You can just give somebody a hug. And yes, this can be a random stranger. And they just need to be held. They need to feel that comfort. They need to feel that presence of another human being, a human heartbeat close to them. And you don't even have to say anything. I've seen this happen more than once, and sometimes that in and of itself is just enough to help that person over the edge or help that person let go. And sometimes there just are no words. Because saying other things like, oh, you're strong, you'll get through this, they're in a better place, everything happens for a reason, time heals all wounds. You know what? Who gives a shit? They might all be true. But if time heals all wounds, you don't care when you're in the middle of the pain, when you're in the middle of the grief. All you can do, it's just consuming your every daily thought. It's occupying all of your mental real estate. And your emotions are so raw right then that you're not sure how to deal with what you're processing. You're not even thinking clearly at that point. It's why you should never, when you're in the midst of grief or anger or anything else, you should never attempt to make any major decisions. You should delay anything that has a big deal that requires a lot of mental concentration. Now, that being said, my go-to in dealing with grief has always been to go to work. I don't know, that's been my answer to most things over the years. But there's also some of us that have responsibilities. There's nothing that sometimes we just have to deal with what we have to deal with. Sorry, talking about this is a little harder than I thought. That's not necessarily the right answer. I'm just telling you that's my answer. And I don't leave my family. I don't abandon my family. I make sure everybody's taken care of and settled, and then I'll typically go do what I need to do. And I will assign myself tasks during that time that make it so that I don't have to think very much, just so that I'm on autopilot more than anything else. In doing that, it gives me time to process. It gives me time to occupy my conscious mind so my subconscious can sift through this mishmash of emotions. And, sometimes there'll be tears dripping from my eyes, and Sometimes there won't be anything, but it's all going on inside, and that's part of moving on. But please don't tell people that they're in a better place or everything happens, it'll be okay, or you need to stay positive and keep your head up. Just acknowledge, find a way that means something to you to acknowledge the fact that they're suffering and let it go. So even if you tell them, say, I don't have the words, but I'm here. And then the biggest one, is there anything I can do? Guys, don't say that if you don't mean it. There's a reason in the South that people bring food after funerals, because the number one task that seems like a huge burden after you've had some kind of great loss in your life is cooking. Also, you're not very hungry because your body does weird stuff. So you know you need to eat, but you're not hungry, so you don't cook, and then it just turns into this weird cycle. So if you're really willing to do something, then just do it. It'll never be received incorrectly. So you can acknowledge the fact that it's unfair, whatever. Just think about something that truly means something to you and acknowledge that to that person that's suffering or that family that's suffering. Now, if you're the one suffering, sorry, I did not expect to get emotional talking about this stuff. If you're the one suffering, what do you do? I mean, you feel that loss and that despair and that utter hopelessness sometimes. Well, you know what? The first thing you do is you feel it. Give yourself permission to feel the way you feel. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to be angry. There are no rules when it comes to this. The only rule is that you need to feel how you feel, and you need to acknowledge it. It's okay to be sad. And what will happen is if you allow yourself to really feel these emotions and you don't run away from them, you don't fight them, that will help it not lead to long-term problems with depression or things like that. Because you know that the grief properly felt will pass. And no, you don't want to hear that when you're in the middle of it, but when you're here talking about it, then you understand the grief that you're feeling will go away eventually. Only if you feel it and only if you go through it. So it's okay to feel broken and still keep going. That's why my go-to is work. I just do something that's familiar and start working, start doing tasks that help me move on and help me do what I need to do. Stick to your routine as close as possible. Yeah, the first couple of days are going to suck. If you're not a drinker, don't go out and start drinking. Don't alter anything drastically. Go to bed when you normally go to bed. Get up. Be as normal as possible. Not because you're trying to fake your way through anything, but because if you are acting normally, then it gives your conscious mind something to focus on while your subconscious is dealing with this. So it also keeps you from avoiding those emotions. Now, it's going to be hard to stick to your regular routine, and you're not going to do it very well, and that's okay. Doesn't mean you're a failure. You know, you're going to go to the gym and you're going to be all broken up if you're a guy that normally works out or a gal that normally works out. It's not going to be great workouts, but you know what? It's going to be familiar. There's going to be comfort in that routine, and it's going to give you something to do. It's going to get your body moving. It's going to help you work through that cortisol and all of those different things. It's also going to help you sleep because you're going to get more exercise. So you might find that going for a walk when you don't normally go for a walk, that helps too. Not with a screen and not with headphones or anything. Just give yourself time to think. This is not something that you can fix. This is not something that, well, there's a 4 stages of grief or whatever it is. The 7 stages, I'm going to feel this way, and then I'm going to feel this way, and I'm going to feel this way. You know, you might jump around from 3 to 1 to 6 to 5. You might make some different stuff up that doesn't even exist in anybody else's world. It's okay. We all process this differently. But feel the way you feel and understand that no matter what time of life that you're in, whether you're in the middle of grief, whether you're in the middle of happiness, whether you're in the middle of euphoria, this too shall pass. You just have to give yourself time to deal with it and permission to deal with it. And that's the biggest thing, because when your world is falling apart, the last thing that you want to do is run away from it or bury yourself so deep in it that it starts to define who you are moving forward. And we've all seen these people that have had these losses and just can't seem to move on. And some of them wear it like a badge of honor around their neck. And after a while, it becomes very tiresome, not only for the people around them, but for them as well. Or worse, they go so deep inside themselves that they just live their lives broken because they refuse to deal with and acknowledge what's truly going on. And this can happen and go on for years. It can ruin your life. So when something happens, when you have a massive loss in your life, feel it. Allow yourself to work through it. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to be angry, whatever it is. And then allow yourself to move on. It doesn't mean anything for you to stay miserable for somebody or something or a pet that's lost. There's no trophy for being the one that suffers the most. Suffer as you will, feel what you need to feel, and then go on with your life. You don't have to consciously choose to move on. You just need to know that you're going to, and you will eventually. Now, for those of you that have lost relatives with long-term diseases, dementia, Alzheimer, fight with cancer, what have you, there is a terrible feeling of relief when that person finally passes. And this can lead to feelings of guilt. And it's like, man, I'm relieved that they're gone. Well, you're not relieved that the person themselves is gone. You're relieved that they're no longer suffering and you don't have to watch this person that you used to see as a strong and powerful companion suffer anymore. That feeling of relief is normal and it's okay. That does not mean you're glad they're dead. It does not. It means you're glad they're not suffering anymore. It means that that pressure and that constant state of unknown now has a definitive answer. Look at it for what it is. And I hope you're listening to this before you need it so that these words will come back in the middle of that grief, because you can't think straight when you are deep in that emotion and feeling that way. You're going to feel guilty about it. Just understand you don't have to continue to feel guilty about it. Also, you're going to laugh in the stages of grief. You're going to remember fun things. You're going to find things that are darkly humorous. You're going to remember good memories that came with that person. Or that pet. This is normal as well. That's okay too, because that's what happens. Your brain is sifting and sorting, and you're going to get to remember those good times as much as you do the bad times, because you're long term, you're not really going to remember the loss. You'll remember the loss and when they passed. The emotions that you're feeling in the middle of the grief, they will fade. And what will stick with you is these memories. And this is why I encourage every single one of you to make as many memories as possible, because we don't get to choose which memories are going to stick with us. Those are the things that we remember long term when that person is gone. And it can be the most random things. My children remember the most random things. Sometimes some events I don't even remember. They have to remind me of them, and they're cherished memories to them. And those are going to be the things that whenever you think of that person after the grief is final, that pop up. And those powerful memories, those pop up right in the middle of grief, because your emotions are all over the place. So you're thinking about the missing, you're thinking about the loss. One of the best explanations I ever heard for being sad at someone passing is we're not normally sad because they've passed. We're sad because we've lost them. We're sad for our own loss. And that's why I like the idea of a celebration of life instead of a funeral. You can call it whatever you want to call it. When I pass, I hope my family gets together and remembers all the fun stuff and all the memories that I helped them create. I want them to be sad because they have lost something, but I don't want them to stay sad. I want that to be a happy coming together of the massive amount of people that I've impacted over my life. And I hope you guys feel the same. And I hope you give yourself permission to move through this. And, don't be angry at people that say comforting words. Nobody's taught how to deal with this. If they've listened to this, they're probably going to say something different. They're probably going to teach you something. Not teach you something. That's not the right way. They're probably going to react to you in a different way than they would have normally. But long term, I want you guys to understand that however you need to process the grief and however you need to feel in the background, that's okay. You don't have to wear it on your sleeve forever, but you also don't have to. You don't have to hide it, guys. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to miss that person. It's okay to miss that animal. It's okay to miss that pet. Just don't let it start to define who you are. I believe in each of you. And for those of you out there that are suffering and you're in grief right now, and if you've been doing it for a long time, use this as your wake-up call. Use this as your permission to feel the feelings and to move on, because we all have them. We all have to process it. We all have to deal with it. And I hope that you're not suffering. But if you are, then I hope that you take this as permission to shed those tears that loss deserves, that person deserves, that pet deserves. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't or that they don't deserve it. Remember, folks, I love each and every one of you, and I thank you guys for joining me here. I hope this has helped. I hope this helps you in the future. My God, I hope you never need this advice. But one thing that's absolutely for certain in the human condition is that we all will. We all will suffer loss. So if you guys don't already follow me on here, like and subscribe, hit that button down below. You'll get new content weekly along with my social medias. There's more that I talk about here. And if you want to see what's going on within my crazy life and watch this journey of Des and I as we move into this next chapter, well, make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all the places. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Love y'all. Peace.